What is world building? In simple terms, world building is constructing a detailed backstory and culture for a fictional universe, including its history, politics, economy, and religion. When you think of world building, you probably think of something like The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, Dune by Frank Herbert, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling, or A Song of Ice and Fire, better known as The Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. You might even think of film series like Star Wars or the MCU. Some might point out that fictional universes go back even further than that, such as the Cthulhu mythos of H.P. Lovecraft, John Carter of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs, or the Hyborian Age tales of Conan the Barbarian by Robert E. Howard. You might even mention popular comic strip series such as Flash Gordon by Alex Raymond, or the long-running Prince Valiant strip by Hal Foster. But if you really want to see where the idea of world-building a detailed fictional universe from a science fiction or fantasy setting originated, you need to go back to the year 1900 when L. Frank Baum wrote the timeless classic The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the first in a long series of books that would inspire films, television shows, plays, animation, and many other things devoted to the iconic land of Oz and its bizarre inhabitants. Projects inspired by the Land of Oz series are still being made today, 125 years later. Wicked, a film version of the hit Broadway play, recently opened in movie theaters, becoming the most lucrative adaptation of a Broadway show ever made. Some might only know about the Land of Oz from the beloved 1939 musical film The Wizard of Oz, which is the most watched film of all time. As great as that movie is, it only scratched the surface of the extensive universe that Baum created for his literary series. Baum wrote 14 books depicting the adventures of Dorothy and her friends from Oz, while Ruth Plumie Thompson continued the franchise after his death, writing 21 more entries in the literary series. Some might dismiss these books as being mere children's stories, but keep in mind that The Hobbit, the Narnia books, as well as the Harry Potter novels were all considered children's entertainment. Baum was the first to realize that knowing the geography of his magical kingdom was very important. Long before fans of Tolkien embraced the usage of maps to help flesh out Middle-earth, there were illustrated maps displaying the 14 kingdoms of Oz, with the Emerald City at the center of everything. Oz is cut off from the rest of the world by the Deadly Desert, foreshadowing the desert worlds of Dune, or Luke Skywalker's home planet of Tatooine. The desert isolates the Land of Oz, similar to the way the archipelago islands in Tales of Earthsea were cut off by a vast ocean. Like most literary franchises, Baum has familiar primary characters who we like to revisit for book after book. Many of the main protagonists of the Oz books are now well known to popular culture, although much of that is due to the movie. Dorothy, the main heroine of the series, along with the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodsman, the Cowardly Lion, Glinda, the Good Witch of the South, and the Wizard himself have become household names. Even the characters who are lesser known to the general public, such as Princess Ozma and the steampunk soldier Tic-Toc, hold a special place in the hearts of loyal readers, who look forward to seeing them reappear. Incidentally, Tic-Toc is considered the first robot hero of fiction, predating R2-D2 and C-3PO by decades. Baum was also a pioneer of the modern feminism that is so trendy in current franchises. Young Kansas farm girl Dorothy Gale is the main protagonist of the franchise. A common girl who shows uncommon courage as she faces down the many dangers of Oz, Dorothy becomes a revered hero to the people of the kingdom. We follow her as she learns the rules of this magical realm, similar to the way we follow Harry Potter as he learns about the magical society he suddenly finds himself in. Dorothy's closest companion throughout the books is Princess Ozma, the rightful ruler of Oz. The two become inseparable, and there is a subtly implied lesbian relationship between the two. Dorothy is eventually made an official princess of Oz and is a trusted advisor to Ozma. Princess Ozma represents goodness and justice, the way Aslan the Lion does in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The two heavily rely on Glinda, the Good Witch of the South, who uses her magic and wisdom to aid Ozma in ruling the troubled land. The wisest and most powerful of the Oz witches, Glinda is to Oz what Gandalf is to the Lord of the Rings. The three women oversee Oz as a matriarchal triumvirate of heroines who protect the people of the kingdom. In the third book, the evil Gnome King is defeated by eggs, which are his particular kryptonite. Seeing as there are no female gnomes, and since eggs are representative of motherhood, the main villain being defeated by eggs is considered a metaphor of female empowerment. The Gnome King is the recurring arch-villain of the Oz books. Many may think of the Wicked Witch of the West as the main antagonist of the series, but that's due to the 1939 movie. Actually, the Witch of the West is killed off in this first book and doesn't return, while the Gnome King makes several appearances to vex our heroes. He is the precursor to other evil sorcerers such as Lord Voldemort. He hides his precious jewels under the earth, much like the dragon Smaug in The Hobbit. While the Oz books don't have an overarching narrative like other sci-fi and fantasy franchises do, the series does have many personal mini-arcs regarding the characters as they slowly develop throughout the many books. The Oz books are clever and imaginative, a brilliant mix of the abstract, absurdist humor mastered by Lewis Carroll in his famous 1865 masterpiece Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, combined with folklore imagery and social commentary about America in the Gilded Age. The Oz books created a bizarre world full of endearing characters and despicable villains that would stand the test of time. And that's the end of my video. And if you enjoyed this trip down the yellow brick road, help me world build a following by liking or commenting or maybe even subscribe. The great and powerful Oz thinks you should. Until next time, have a magical week.